November 10th, 2025, and I guess everyone's saying the Dems caved over the government shutdown, which was basically explicitly over the Affordable Care Act. And I've been trying to tell Democrats everywhere that that's not a good thing. It wasn't a good thing, and it's led to a problem. And I've proven that in my other videos. Nobody's been able to counter it or disprove my point or argue it at all. And I even offered $1,000 cash to anyone that could. No responses to that. But everyone wants to troll and respond if you say anything else that criticizes them. So where are they at when I ask them to and to bring some facts and intelligence to the table? They can't. They're all low IQ. So here we are. Nobody hates the left more than the left themselves. And they can't seem to understand why or comprehend it still. They're still not grasping the concept and not seeing the problem here, which leads to our segment for the day. Why Democrats keep falling for the same politicians and how the ACA became their biggest self-own. Welcome back to the Equilibrium Report, where we call things what they are, not what the marketing says. Today we're talking about Democratic voters and their unbelievable ability to get conned by the same people, the same rhetoric, and the same corporate-backed policies, over and over. If political naivety were an Olympic sport, the Democratic base would have got more gold medals than Michael Phelps. And nothing proves this better than the Affordable Care Act, their sacred cow, a policy they worship like scripture but barely understand. Let's break down how Democrats let themselves get played. The Democratic weak spot. Blind loyalty disguised as hope. Democratic voters have a pattern. They fall in love with politicians based on vibes, speeches, and slogans. They're gullible. They treat charisma like competence. And once they like a figure, that person becomes untouchable. Like Hillary, Obama, Pelosi, Schumer, all marketed as bold progressives fighting for the working class, but all deeply tied to insurance donors, pharmaceutical donors, Wall Street donors, healthcare lobbyists, and the corporate networks that shaped the Affordable Care Act. Yet, Democratic voters never question it. They hear a speech full of inspirational language, and suddenly, the politician is a hero, no matter how many times the policy screws them. It's emotional attachment masquerading as political awareness. And they all think they're intelligent and smarter than you. Yet, none of them can prove it with an IQ. Post your IQ score tests. Go to Mensa, take one, post it up, and then we'll see whose opinion has weight to it. And that leads me to another side step. Democrat voters are elitist. They think they're better than everyone. And if you criticize them at all, or even bring up a factual point, they'll attack you and push you out. And they wonder why they're losing support. People that are trying to help them, they push away and try to fight. It's crazy. The Affordable Care Act, a corporate dream dressed up as reform. Democrats still don't get that the ACA was never designed to challenge the insurance industry. It was designed to save it. Let's spell it out. The ACA forced Americans to buy private insurance similar with automobile insurance. That's not universal health care. That's forced consumption of a private product. Insurers couldn't have asked for a better law. It guarantees them money. And the more people there are, the more money they get. Subsidies were tied to premiums, meaning the higher insurers raise prices, the more taxpayer money they get. Democrats still don't see how insane that structure is. Subsidies were tied to premiums, which is bad, meaning the higher insurers raise prices, the more taxpayer money they get. It causes greedflation. Democrats still don't see how insane that structure is, which also shows their lack of intelligence and critical thinking skills, or able to think for themselves at all. No public option. Remember the public options? The strongest part, the part voters actually wanted? Democrats let it die quietly behind closed doors, then pretended they fought for it. Guaranteed profits, guaranteed customers. Insurers got millions of new customers. Government subsidies. Protection from competition, a mandate forcing people into their market. This doesn't bring costs down. It does the opposite. All in the name of progress. Democrats celebrated. The insurance industry celebrated harder. How Democratic voters got emotionally manipulated. Democrats don't look at policy mechanics. They look at political branding. They were told, this is historic. This is progress. This is the biggest healthcare expansion since Medicare. So they believed it. Never mind the deductibles. Never mind the premiums, never mind the narrow networks, never mind the fact the system still bankrupts people. They clap because their team scored political points, not because their policy actually solved anything. It's the same pattern every cycle. Fall for the speech, ignore the donors, cheer for the branding, forget the consequences, and then repeat it every 4 years. The aftermath. Democrats built a trap they're now stuck in, and I mentioned this in other videos as well, and this is what I've been trying to tell people. The funniest part, Democrats can't criticize the ACA now, even though it clearly failed at affordability. Why? Because they emotionally attached themselves to the law. They turned it into a moral badge of honor. So now, premiums skyrocket, deductibles skyrocket, insurers make record profits, corporations tighten their grip, and the Democratic voters defend it because criticizing it feels like criticizing their team. They became loyal to the branding, not the outcomes. The ACA wasn't a progressive revolution. It wasn't a step toward universal health care. It wasn't even a compromise. It was a corporate capture disguised as reform, and Democratic voters walked right into it, smiling, hopeful, and completely unaware of how badly they were played. If Democrats want real healthcare reform, they have to stop treating politicians like celebrities and start understanding the policies they cheer for. Otherwise, they'll keep repeating the same mistake, falling for leaders who talk like reformers and legislate like corporate lawyers. This is the Equilibrium Report, where we separate reality from fairy tales both parties tell their followers. And this time, the Democrats get the spotlight. Thank you for watching.
You are watching the Equilibrium Report. Stay free, stay true, stay defiant.